So in the introduction to defining fear, a spectrum approach, you say, and I will quote, so defining fear is, or could be one of the most important research agendas of human sciences in the next century, because of its key role in oppression and liberation. So you chose to talk about fear as a weapon or as an instrument of oppression. Could you share one or two working definitions of fear?
Working definitions would be, first one, really these are assumptions, probably more than definitions. They're meanings more than definitions. But it would be something like this. Fear is an integral part of a complex phenomenon involving and enabling defense intelligence. Capital D, capital I. So defense intelligence systems, I'm very interested in all systems. Everything from organic systems to digital AI systems. How do systems evolve, right? Get designed, organized, and how do they defend themselves? There arguably is no system that does not have a defense intelligence system within it. And of course, we have, 4 billion years of life systems on this planet that have built that kind of defense against entropy, against destruction, against chaos, more or less. And we've got to experience and understand that from studying organisms on our planet for 4 billion plus years or so. So that's a pretty interesting intelligence. So that's where I locate fear to begin. You see, it's not a definition of fear, but it's a location of fear. And that's very important in my work. So now to definitions of fear, obviously psychology, philosophy, and theology. If you look at any of the literature on fear and you start reading it, as I've read for so many decades, those fields have all had their own interest in how to locate fear and how to define fear. Now, end up in the modern world, in the Western world where I am, and it spreads around the whole world, the definitions of fear as, a flight, fight response to threat of danger, and you get all that kind of, and then of course the neurologists and biologists come in with their little, definitions of where that is in the brain system and so on. So what's constantly being done in the definitionizing of fear is a locating in a reductionist way. So as a philosopher that I am in heart, I'm never happy with reductionistic definitions of anything, any phenomenon. And especially when they, you have to do it sometimes for practical reasons, but when that definition becomes that which you rely upon, that's what you teach to next generations in your socialization and enculturation, that to me becomes dangerous because it can be skewed. It's skewed by its own reduction. In other words, you're not capturing as much of the phenomenon as possible. So the regular definition of fear, I would say, is a psychological definition. However, if you do a study of fear, as I have, across cultures, across wisdom tradition literatures, religious literatures, spiritual literatures, etc., there's this very interesting idea that fear and love are opposites. And I see it appear around the world. I still see it today in many literature.